got something embarrassing to talk about?
Okay. Greg. This happens when
Everyone listening, Eric has something embarrassing he's about to tell us.
when I run,
Yeah.
or even like just run up the steps, my dick kind of goes inside me.
Like a scared turtle.
Well, yes, and then
Okay.
I get up and I have to like just push a little bit right here, and then it just pops back out. What
Is
is
that normal? I don't know. Is that like a normal is that like a normal thing?
I hope.
Right? Like
Am
I don't know.
Because then I have to like, it's after I did a 5K this last
Yeah.
weekend, and I absolutely had to just like, come on, little guy. It was cold, and I said,
Sure,
"Come on,
yeah,
little
yeah.
guy, get on out of there." And
Wake up, damn it.
it got out of there. Everything else works fine. It just goes into hiding sometimes. And
I don't know. Like, so I'll tell you what, if I finish a JO sesh
Yes.
and then do like a Peloton ride,
Yeah.
that happens to me. But
Yeah.
only after I've reached the promised lands.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
You know?
So maybe
but
it's like, hey, I'm sleepy. I'm done.
sure. Yeah, it just goes inside of you.
I don't need to be here.
Was it Family Guy when Quagmire was fucking that turtle and he like sticks his head out? He's like, "Did you hear something?" He's like, "Nah, it's good." Well, you know what? This is I think this is a first for us. So we are recording this episode the same day that it airs, which is something that we try not to do, just in case there's one of us like dies or there's technical difficulties or whatever.
And you know what? Neither of us have died yet to this
Neither of
day.
us have. Nope,
You
we're
knock-
good.
Knock on.
But we also kind of wanted to do this. This is a kind of unique situation. The presidential election wrapped this morning. I think around like 1:30, 2 a.m. I was up watching. So Donald Trump is the 47th presidential elect of the United States of America. He whooped Kamala. Like Kamala Harris got swept. Especially in those I guess this election really came down to those what Pennsylvania was kind of going to be. We've been hearing for how long Pennsylvania was really going to be.
Pennsylvania, you win the whole thing.
Most likely were going to win, especially the path that I feel like the election was going. Like I think it was like Pennsylvania, like Michigan, which Donald Trump really just won all of the states that Joe Biden won in 2020 to take the election. So if you're listening, Eric and I, we don't really talk politics. We're both located in Delaware, so you can kind of gather what, but I always tell people, I feel like I'm more in the middle of most political things. But something fascinating, I woke up this morning and immediately got on Facebook, and it was so fucking divided. People were either happy or this is the end of the world, right? And I feel like, who the fuck are we to say? But like, if you didn't go out and vote, then that's on you. Like, that's what happens when you don't get out to vote, right? Like, I heard a lot of people say, well, I don't like either, so I'm just not going to vote.
I got beef with that. There are so many elections that you do have a say in, those local elections. If you don't know your local representative or the people that locally elect you, like here in Delaware, they go to Dover and they speak about issues that happen in Delaware.
Yeah.
I think that it's, I've at least found success in speaking to my elected officials here in Delaware and having them do things, that interest me.
Well, and I feel like too, like when you're voting, like just because you're a Democrat or Republican or whatever, like you don't necessarily have to vote for that person if you don't believe in. You should believe in what the person is selling, essentially. But for us, or evidently the whole election, apparently Trump did really well with the Latino community. Like, I think it was up like 30 points or something from when Joe Biden won the election, and apparently with the Black male community. And you and I know that even from work, like a lot of individuals that we work with said, hey, I don't trust Harris. I'm going to vote Donald Trump.
I'd heard that.
And so, and two, like when you think about the Harris Trump campaign, Trump's whole thing was, the Biden administration with inflation and gas prices, a not really like a loose border, and evidently like and clearly it worked. Like people bought into it, and it's not one of those things too where it's like, oh, the election was stolen. Like people came out and they voted for Donald Trump to win.
So much of this has to be that people, if they are upset, the world's going to end. Could it be something where they say, well, the person that I voted for didn't win. This is busted.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what I'm seeing is like I get it, obviously I voted for Harris. But and mainly, for the whole like abortion rights and all that, like, I have a daughter, you have a daughter, but apparently that wasn't as much of an impact as they thought it was going to be. And a lot of people just weren't happy with the Biden administration. Like Trump won the popularity vote by a fuck ton. I mean, by multiple millions of votes. And he didn't in 2016 when he beat Hillary. And I think he lost it against Biden. But that shows you how unhappy people are with the state of things right now. But I keep seeing like, oh, the world's going to end. It didn't end in 2016, right? It didn't. I think if you want my honest opinion as a Democrat or whatever, you need to regroup and figure out what the fuck didn't work and how you're going to approach that 4 years from now, right?
I'm in the same boat as you. I think that a lot of people's frustration lies in the fact that we didn't have a choice on who we voted for our Democratic.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, Biden dropped out like 100 some days ago. Like it wasn't even like that long ago. So, and then it was just automatically, well, Kamala Harris. And a lot of people, to be honest, didn't love her, and so it's kind of like pick your poison. And they, I mean, both parties had a lot of support. Clearly, the Trump Republican Party had more support, but I kept seeing, the world's going to end. I see a lot of upset people like, this, as a woman, and we can't really talk on that because we're not. But for me, it's like, well, then how are you going to do better in 4 years? And that's it. And apparently, you know what? Shame on Kamala. Like, apparently she didn't come out and address the watch party. Like she just sent everyone home and hasn't radio silence. My thing is, didn't we bitch about Donald Trump being like super, and I'm not saying she said the election was stolen or whatever, but like you lose, you lost. And they kept saying, well, we got to count the vote. But like, you knew as soon as Pennsylvania was over, you lost. There was no path to winning the 270 electoral votes to win the election. She wasn't going to get that.
I didn't watch any coverage at all. Tell me, how bad was it? How bad was the clapping?
So I'll pull it up right now. So Donald Trump right now is at 277. Harris is at 224. So
then that's it. There's no way.
There was no. So she had 66 million popularity votes, and Trump had 71 million. I mean, that's a huge difference. And then, I mean, so you had to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. She lost Wisconsin. She lost Michigan. She lost Pennsylvania. Arizona, she's going to lose. But then Trump even turned like historically blue counties in Texas. Philadelphia had more people voting for him. Like the numbers were, she underperformed Joe Biden in a lot of those areas. And I think where people are getting confused is like, yeah, but she still had like 60%. Yeah, okay. But Biden had like 64 in this county, and that was like another 400,000 votes, right? Mm-hmm. And so people were like, well, maybe the mail-in ballots. A lot of people didn't vote through like the send in your mail, like they went in person or they voted early, they showed up. So we weren't going to get 700,000 random votes just showing up. It was done this morning, but I mean, it was 277 to 224. It wasn't as bad as I think the 2016 election. I think Hillary got swept even worse than that. And I think Biden. So if you go back to the 2020 election, which obviously Joe Biden won. So yeah, Joe Biden got Tennessee. He got Pennsylvania. He got Michigan. He got Wisconsin. He got New Mexico. He got Arizona. He got 303. Donald Trump got 235.
What was that politician who said, and we're going to go down to Washington?
And you know what? Like, you gotta say what you know. You can either be happy with it or not, but like even like listening to JD Vance speak and even Donald Trump, and once again, I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but he sounded more like somebody who, and JD Vance especially, the vice president, when he spoke, he made clear, concise sentences, and people, I think, like that. I mean, clearly so. So I don't. It doesn't matter who they won. There is no voter fraud. And the fact that the Harris campaign they just kind of shut down. Shame on them. I feel like that's kind of what we bitched about.
What is it? The concession speech?
And she did it. She said, "I'll address everyone tomorrow,"
Yeah,
and that's fair. Okay, well, it's tomorrow
Look,
now.
I'd be pretty upset. I'd want to go to bed too.
Yeah, sure, right. But I think, you know what, though? A lot of that is just arrogance. They didn't really campaign that hard. I feel like most of and I heard too, Donald Trump's people, they're like, I don't know what they're called, the people who like, go out to try to get people to vote. They were doing text messages and phone calls. You said you had a Democratic individual walk up to your house. People aren't as receptive to that as getting, we're in a digital age, and I think that had a big part of,
Kamala's been texting me. She says, "Hi, Eric. Kamala
I need
here.
$47, please."
Last night, you'll never guess who texted me. I told you, Barack Obama.
Barack
texted me.
Obama?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Although
Man,
I think this one was spam. It was at like 7 o'clock, and he said, "By 8 o'clock, send in $20.
Send me
and
in
we'll 700
Walmart gift cards,
and we'll give you 700 times the value of that $20 or something."
Dude, like, okay, it's
in Walmart gift cards,
in Walmart iTunes gift cards, and and who the fuck are we to talk politics, right? Like
I think we should move to religion next.
I mean, we can, but you know what? I feel like we never really talk about it, but I feel like today was kind of a important. So Donald Trump is the 47th presidential elect of the United States of America. That's it. The memes are about to be fire though for the next 4 years.
We said the bright side, SNL is going to be pretty funny.
Yep. Alec Baldwin, man, he's got another 4 years.
He's still doing it because I don't see him. It's some other guy doing it.
He had that. He killed a man,
Yeah, that's tough to.
But yep. So election is over. But I'll tell you what, you had a different like voting experience. I went right at 8 a.m. There was no one there. Like I stood in line for 4 minutes, maybe in and out. But you.
So I went at 7, and I don't know what it is. Everyone wanted to get it done first thing in the morning where I live. The line was, I don't know how long it would have taken me, but it was actually at where my kids go to school, and it wrapped from like the cafeteria all the way to the main entrance. The line must have been I went at 7.
Yeah.
Waited in line for 3 minutes, moved one time forward, like one step forward. And I was like, nah, you know what? I'm going to leave, go to work, and come back and do this later. I came back at like 5 p.m. and I went through 0 line. It took me 25, 30 seconds to walk straight from the main entrance to the polling place. So imagine waiting in line for that amount of distance. And then no line at all. I went in, gave my ID, boom, 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 did the thing. Took me to 3 minutes. Walk in the door, walk out.
Well, I feel like too, a lot of people are just like they voted early, and some of those early lines were like 3 hours long. So I think
that's what made me not want to do that.
Yeah, right. So if that's going to be the look every 4 years, then but also to one last thing. So apparently, a lot of people who are like more like libertarian, they voted for Donald Trump because the Democratic Party couldn't persuade them to come on. I guess Harris said that she was backing Biden for a lot of the decisions she made, and a lot of people aren't happy with that. Like, I think Joe Biden was probably one of the worst presidents that I've ever seen in my life, like, as someone who, like, it's so funny because, like, I loved Barack Obama, and so, like, voting for him felt good. Voting for Joe Biden felt good because I was voting against, Donald Trump, but I didn't love it, I haven't really like loved a presidential candidate except for Obama
since Obama, and that's the only that was the first time that I could vote was in 2008. And I have to agree with you. It's
You
been,
know?
and I don't know if that's the way it was 20 years ago. I mean, everybody could say things are different now, but like, you probably still had a candidate that you liked and then a candidate that you disliked. But anymore, it seems you have a candidate that you hate, and then you
Oh
have the
yeah.
candidate that you're going to vote for.
But also too, like, a lot of people are going to like you can't let it ruin your life, right? Like I see a lot of people like I saw like a couple of like suicidal posts and like that's a huge problem. Then you need to like that needs to be addressed like right because that's a whole nother issue. I mean, Delaware, the coolest thing that kind of came out of this was who Sarah McBride, so the first transgender member of Congress. Like that's cool. And she but all blue like Delaware historically, like if you're a Democrat, you're well. I think it wasn't always that way, but over the last however many
What were the
years,
other? You don't have the rest of the Delaware?
yeah, I do. So
Who we got a new governor, didn't we?
we do Matt Meyer.
Matt Meyer. Okay, blue Democrat. So
Yeah, and it wasn't
not
even close.
surprising.
So where is it? Okay, so Lisa Blunt Rochester won for the Senate, and she whooped Eric Hansen. I mean, 279,000 to 196. Sarah McBride didn't like do as well as Lisa Blunt did, but she still beat John Whalen by almost 80,000 votes.
It's a lot of votes.
It is a lot of votes. And then Matt Meyer beat Mike. He beat Mike Ramone by. Actually, he beat him by like 60,000. So
So even
that was
less.
a much tighter. That was a much tighter race between the two. Lieutenant Governor Kyle Evans Gay beat Ruth Briggs King.
Did I tell you when
that's
we saw Kyle Evans Gay's posters up, and my kids asked, they were like, "Is that person gay?" And I was like, "I mean, maybe, but
maybe
but
it would
that's just
be
their last name."
yeah, right. No, in this instance, don't know. But so it was all blue, and it wasn't even like close. And I'm pretty sure. So Sarah McBride won Newcastle County and Kent County, which is
Wow.
wild. And so did Harris. She got Newcastle County and Kent
How
with
progressive
Sussex
Delaware is.
because Sussex is what is that more? Is that rural?
Very much so. Yeah.
So that checks out. But I wanted to get that out of the way. This isn't an election episode by any means. It just happens to that's the way the schedule fell. And also, we want to talk about the election. But last night when we were going to record, we were just sometimes it's just if you're not in the mood to do it and you're too tired, you're going to get a shitty episode. So we were like, well, let's just do it today.
This is us. We'll do it in the midnight hour.
Yes. But I was thinking about something. So while the election, the votes were being tallied or whatever, we took the kids to the playground. And so we're walking up, and the best thing is when you get there and there's no one there, right? Like no other parents and kids. Well, there were. And statistically, you go to a playground, there's going to be people there. But so we get there, and the woman sees us coming, and she takes her kids and leaves, which was like, okay. Great, but she probably had the same mindset as us. So, like, how common is it, do you think, that it's like, oh, we got it, time for dinner,
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I guess it depends on the age of the kids that are coming over. Like, it's not your own personal playground.
It's not. It is not. It is not.
And you really want your kids to be able to play with other kids. Like, that would seem to be the best thing. Like, hey, I mean, if they're close in age, definitely.
And they were, I think, maybe because it was like 6:30. So, like, maybe it's like, now I have to be here for another hour. Like, maybe I've already been here for an hour.
That's definitely a thing. I'll say this is it right here. They're coming. They're going to extend this trip another. I was looking for an excuse to leave, and for
now
some
this is it.
reason, people coming is an excuse to leave.
Because kids are the ultimate excuse to get out of things, right?
I mean, sorry, I can't come to dinner.
No
kids.
babysitter, or oh, I have to leave early. Kids, So I feel like I love leaving early from anywhere. You go to a party, you leave early.
Oh,
What?
dude, tell me when the last time I've stayed at a full concert has been.
Oh, dude. Well, okay. So we went and we saw Green Day. You guys got there after the Smashing Pumpkins, who were co-headlining.
Because I don't like Billy Corgan.
Same. And let
That was by
that be
design.
known. I think he is a cuck. But Green Day came on, and they were doing what? Dookie and American Idiot
In its entirety.
in its entirety. But you dipped like before they even finished American Idiot.
Yep. Yep.
So you were there for all of like an hour.
I was, I was pretty toasty. Yeah.
You know what though? How do you feel about outdoor arenas? Do you think the sound's as good as inside?
No.
It can't. I guess it can't be. It can't be.
No,
because the acoustics, it doesn't have anywhere to go.
but I'm not an audiophile like that. I don't feel the need to like. Oh, it sounds so crisp. You've got an ear for that. You really do.
I do, but like, so okay. I love the Wells Fargo Center, or well, whatever. I don't know what they're changing their name to some pizza place. I know,
Domino's.
dude. It's like hold on.
Really? I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, so the contract ends. So they're being renamed.
You look that up. I'm gonna eat this beef stick.
Oh, okay. Casey's Center, and Casey's will sell their pizza at events. I thought it was going to be like I would have bet it was going to be like crypto or like Coinbase Arena or something, right?
Seems to be the way that it's going.
Yep.
But pizza place. We get a pizza place.
Casey's Pizza. So
No.
they have to be
No.
Casey's Center.
They got to do
So,
something else. They can't just be slinging pizza.
Casey's Pizza, food and grocery delivery.
Interesting.
I've never breaking. Well, so this was October 21st, Wells Fargo Arena to become Casey's Center.
That's so weird because you could sell
Effective
pizza
July 1.
at a fucking concert venue,
But
at
also,
a sports
like-
stadium without.
Okay, but
owning
yes,
it.
like if you were like Domino's, like you said, or Papa John's, okay, that makes way more sense. Even maybe Little fucking Caesars, even Cece's Pizza, but I don't know, and maybe I just don't know enough. So if you've ever had Casey's Pizza, like, is it that good?
Well, I would want to know what Dave Portnoy says about it.
Everyone knows the rules.
One bite, everybody
bite.
knows the rules. Proceeds to eat the whole entire fucking
The
pizza.
whole piece, and then judges the shit out of the undercarriage. But you know what? I always watch, like, I watch every time he comes up. I'll watch the whole pizza review. I will.
I think people like to see people eat as well.
But
definitely a
also,
thing.
like, I want to catch him doing a review because he gives you, when he gets the full pie, he said, "Hey, you want a piece?"
oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's people
like,
that do like find him, and I don't want to say stalk him, but they'll
Oh,
like,
yeah, which has
like,
to be fucking
every once in a
annoying.
while. That's got to be annoying. You'll see like the camera guy. What's the camera guy's name? But it doesn't matter.
Let's say Bob.
Like sometimes hey Bob, they'll turn around and there's like a bunch of people like,
Oh, yeah.
ooh, just watching him
Yep.
do a pizza review, which understandably so.
But I
He's-
mean,
he's a
like, I
famous
feel
guy.
like, yeah, he's automatically going to get that, right? Like, that's just kind of.
I saw somebody dress up as so there was the one pizza review. And these two girls dressed up. One dressed as Dave, and the other one dressed up as the guy with no arms. Did you see that guy? And he came and he like started yelling some stuff at him.
No.
He said, "Make sure you give that pizza to a crackhead or something like that." But then he's carrying like a suitcase behind him, and it was like must have been like a string attached to this guy, to this homeless guy's, or I assume homeless guy's arm or something. And he started walking away, and he was like, "How was he carrying that? How was he pulling that suitcase behind him?"
Well, what the fuck?
But somebody dressed up like that for Halloween. I
I mean, that's pretty funny, actually.
It's funny.
Yeah, I feel like if I ran into him, I would probably also record and
Sure.
eat pizza, mainly
Yeah,
for the pizza.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, you can eat all that?
I do have to ask though. So you've had the you. Speaking of food, did you get to try the chicken Big Mac?
No.
So
I got to
so
try
out
the
of, like,
Wednesday Whopper.
Yep. So that's what I was gonna say. So the obscure kind of. So you've had the Krabby Patty.
Yep.
You've had the ghost pepper chicken sandwich from Popeyes.
Yes.
You've had the Wednesday's Whopper.
Yes.
So the only thing that you're missing to complete that kind of full quadruple
Specialty meal.
would be the chicken Big Mac. And I don't know what it is, man.
You know where I'm going for lunch then?
So I had it, and I don't know why I didn't like it. So in theory, it should be amazing, right? Because it's just a Big Mac, but replace the beef patties with fried chicken. And I think that the problem was the two fried chicken like patties. It was too there was too much going on. So it was covered in Big Mac sauce, which was great. But like the beef, I think works better than the chicken with the
With the
sauce
sauce. Yeah.
and
They need a
on
different
that bun.
sauce.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that they missed. I don't even want to say they missed the mark. I just don't think that sandwich was that good.
Yeah. Doesn't work.
But the Wednesday's Whopper though was the worst out of all of them.
Cheeks. What do they say? They used purple potatoes for the bun.
Because what did I say? Oh, a sweet potato. She said, "It wasn't a sweet potato; it's a purple potato."
She said, purple potato bun.
I said, "Okay, whatever." It was dry. It wasn't good.
Yeah. No. And I like a Whopper. I really do.
But what did she say? Swiss cheese?
Yeah. Which I don't like Swiss cheese actually.
No, and Swiss cheese on like on a burger? No, two types of cheese only, right? Actually, three types. Top three cheese types. Ready? Pepper jack,
Pepper jack American.
American, and cheddar.
Yep.
And that's not in any order, right? Like that's
Oh, what about a nice Gruyere? Is that a cheese? I don't fucking know
sure
cheese.
So apparently you can like add that into burgers, and it gives it like kind of a more like I don't want to say like a more heartier flavor, but a more, let's say, a sophisticated, challenging flavor.
Ooh.
You know, yeah, I don't know. Like I think that out of the Krabby Patty was solid, but it was
Yeah.
Dave's Hot and Juicy.
Yeah,
So once
just
again,
with
don't get it
a
twisted.
a different sauce.
Yes.
Nobody's recreating the wheel with any of this. I'm
Now the
tired.
ghost pepper sandwich from Popeyes is fine, but it's just their chicken sandwich with the ghost pepper sauce, which is great. Like,
But I
that-
think
good.
Popeyes is probably right now my favorite fast food place.
Consistent. Popeyes, would you say better than Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll crazy about Chick-fil-A, man.
Me neither. I mean, like Chick-fil-A had its place.
And it's good. Like it is good. Like if I go to Chick-fil-A, I'm like, that's cool, whatever.
It's
but
good and consistent, and you know what you're going to get, and you have fantastic service. Waffle fries
Every
are good.
time.
The milkshakes are good. But then, like, I don't know. I don't think they're.
But then
mac
they
and
say, hey,
cheese
here's
is-
a chicken sandwich. Let me drop cold pimento cheese on it.
Put it in a foil bag so it
I didn't
steams up and
include
gets
that.
real soggy, nice
Get
and
the
good.
fuck out of here. So when I worked at Chick-fil-A, the way
What,
they
all
trained
of like
you,
a week.
I was there for 6 months.
Oh, okay, that's pretty
know?
good time.
Yeah. I actually left on my own accord. So get your buns, you butter them, and you would run them through the little like toaster, and then chicken, and then the sandwiches had 2 pickles. And the way that they taught it, and then apparently someone got sued for saying this, they would say when you're laying the pickles, make sure they're side by side, so they're dating, not mating.
Okay.
Well, someone got sued, I guess, for saying that for sexual harassment.
Dating, not mating.
So if you couldn't put them on top of each other.
Okay, all right. So
And I was like,
I think
but
it would be.
understood as soon as the person told me, like I got what they were saying, and every time I'd go in for my shift, they would say, "And which church do you go to?" And I was like, "Oh,
Now I think what would be really inappropriate is if they said, "Hey, these pickles ain't fucking. Don't put them on each other." That
touching hands, not butt fucking each other."
now
right?
that
Like,
I
okay,
could see. That
sure.
would be more sexual harassment, not dating, not mating. Dating, not mating is pretty innocent,
You want to know something?
unless the
And
guy
I'll-
was like, dating, not mating.
So
if you know what I mean.
Wink, wink. I'm gonna say something, right? So.
Say.
The Chick-fil-A that I worked at had a family that kind of one individual came from another Chick-fil-A in a state over. I'm not going to give any locations, just, specific locations. But he brought his son, his other son, his son's wife, his other son's wife, like his daughter, his whole family, they took over, right?
Okay.
And they were your stereotypical, like super religious, like anti-contraceptive. You get married like a day after you meet the person, you knock them up. You have 18 kids. They all work at Chick-fil-A. But
This
they
is
were
the career. Yeah.
they were, holier than anyone. But instead of saying like, "Oh, what the fuck?" This motherfucker would say, "What the N-word?" And he was, oh, I'm sorry, it just slipped out. Because they were all like backwards, Millington, um, Maryland, like the Galena area.
Stop. You said you weren't going to say where.
Well, that's not where the Chick-fil-A was.
Oh.
That's just
But
where
that's where
these
they were
individuals were from. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's way worse. You should have
wait,
just said, what the fuck?
I remember we were trying to figure out like, hey, why are we going through so much like fruit punch? And he was like, well, look at where we're located.
Holy shit.
And it's like, dude, like that's racist, dog.
But
Like, you
but
can't.
but since it's a family thing,
But
they
since it's
weren't
a
gonna get
family thing,
fired
it was
for
like, no, but that's fine because like we're good people. And it's like, no, like you saying that's racist. Stop. And it just got progressively worse. And so Chick-fil-A has that weird like you don't pay $1 million like you get a McDonald's franchise, you're paying $1 million or whatever. I think it's $10,000, but and they only pick like 100 people a year, right? You have to be perfect. Your credit has to be like 900,000. You have to go to church every, yada yada, whatever. But you don't own any. So they all want to do that, but you don't own any equity in the business, right? So if you want to sell, they say, okay, cool, you're out. Bye. And,
Oh, so
and
that
then
$10,000 was just here's
But-
your ticket to entry.
but they call them owner operators, and so they do make though they're only guaranteed 30 per year when getting their start. I guess you get a percentage of sales. So like you're in a, and that's why if you notice, like when you go to a Chick-fil-A, look at the wall. There's normally like a picture of who the owner operator is. I guarantee you, like if you go to a mall and there's a Chick-fil-A, the Chick-fil-A closest is run by the same person. They have
Right.
multiple.
Right.
So you want multiple
Right.
Chick-fil-A's, and now you're talking fucking money.
Yeah.
But then I hear too, like Chick-fil-A's at a mall take a hit and you get fined because they don't operate on
Right.
Sunday.
Yeah.
And I think you have to pay, like, okay, you don't operate, cool, but you're getting
You're still
fined
paying.
every Sunday.
Do you think they get yeah, I guess they get fined because that's a stall that
They're
should
holding-
be open. Yeah, it's
But
not
to
bringing in mall
Chick-fil-A's
business
point-
that day.
They only need to operate 6 days a week
Yeah.
to be and it, like when I used to work there, they would still schedule us on Sunday. You just what was Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, his thing was you just can't sell chicken on Sunday, but you can still work. So they would have you coming in to clean and like stock shit. Oh yeah.
Really?
But just you couldn't serve the public. Yep.
Interesting.
Because it was supposed to be like a day of rest, and what's Sunday? Like a day of God and whatever.
Interesting.
But yeah,
people
that
will still
was-
go in and actually not rest.
They would just have you fucking go in and work.
Ew.
And like, dude, they wouldn't even like the pay was shit. I mean, Chick-fil-A is high end fast food, is what it is essentially. Like it's
That's what it's advertised as. Yeah.
it's a better quality fast food, and you get paid as such.
Well, what you were saying is I could totally see that's why people don't like they'll boycott Chick-fil-A just because of the way like well, I know that the thoughts of the owner or the people that run those stores is a certain way against like gay people.
Yeah, I mean, the predominantly you hear Chick-fil-A and like the like LGBTQ and like the gay community, like they just don't really mesh.
They just don't
but-
go eat there.
and-
Or
right,
some of them do. Or some of them do and they just say, "Hey, the chicken's good."
I think so. Matty Healy from the 1975 was like, look, I know what they're about, but have you ever had their spicy chicken sandwich? And I guess they don't have them overseas. So like, it's just an American, like USA thing. So that's
But
a
you know
treat.
what? Same. I know that's a choice from the owner. Starbucks has the same kind of thought process. What did the fucking owner? Starbucks is owned privately, right?
No,
Oh, they're
No.
publicly traded. So
they're part of like the Becky stocks.
okay. So, but I remember there was something. Wasn't it the CEO or something? Didn't he say like, well, if we choose not to put do not wash or do not, like the employees have to wash their hand signs. If we choose not to put those up, people just have the choice to come here or not.
Yep.
Which didn't go over well. I know.
Well, especially because like, dude, they've changed CEOs a lot. Like and I think the new CEO they got just said, "Hey, we were doing way too many deals. So we're cutting way back on doing the promos like the
Damn it.
what was it, BOGO Thursdays or
Yeah,
like
it was every Thursday
half
for the
off
month
Thursday.
of
Dude, not
September. You
anymore.
buy one, get one half off, or get one free.
So I think what they're saying is they're going to keep the Seattle-based multinational chain announced it would dial back its frequent discounts and promotions. So I'm wondering they'll probably keep the stars, right? Like you spend money, you accumulate shit, but like the BOGOs and shit, no, those are gonna go away, which sucks because that was great for us.
Oh yeah, right after we would go get lunch, and it was in between. I think it might have even been in between certain hours.
Yep, certain
Right.
hours, but
It's not like
then,
your first 7 o'clock in the morning coffee. Which, by the way, I went yesterday. Actually, used 200 stars. The
What'd you get?
Starbucks by me, the cold brew pumpkin cold foam.
Sure. So is
Whatever.
that what a 200 star? You
Yeah.
can get that with 200 stars.
200-star specialty drink. Well, I had some stars that were going to expire, so I
Sure.
figured I'd use them. But yesterday, which was election day, it was so fucking packed at like 7:30 in the morning. Like I've never seen that parking lot more full.
Everyone had to get their drink
Yeah,
before
I
they
just voted because I know everybody was there fucking voting so early, or I got to get
Well-
my coffee while I wait in line to go vote, or
because then they wanted to take a picture with their look. I got my cup and my.
I
sticker.
voted. Here's my
Yup.
Starbucks thing. You know what? And now that Halloween is over, and God fucking forbid this, I hate this so goddamn much. People are ready to bring out the red cups for Starbucks. People are
Oh,
ready to get
shit.
their Christmas trees out. People are ready to start celebrating Christmas. And I fucking hate that shit.
Well, look,
I need my time. I need my favorite holiday in the limelight. Let's give fucking recognition to Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving once again is the throat goat.
It is the throat goat. My favorite. It's just like Christmas. You get the family if you want them. You get the good food, or like we're gonna do also Friendsgiving. I know you're doing Friendsgiving, which I'm hyped for.
So to talk about Friendsgiving though, tonight and tomorrow, I actually took off on Friday. I'm going to decorate the house for Christmas because for Friendsgiving.
Why don't
I
you
want
decorate
to
it for
really
Thanksgiving?
set
Let me
the-
let me
the fuck
cut
are
my
Thanksgiving
fucking
decorations?
Let me. All right, listen. I'm going to put my hand on a brown piece of paper. I'm going to trace it and I'm going to cut it.
Okay.
Here's my little gobbler. Right. This is the little gobbler, and here's the feathers. I'm going to color these guys in. Boop, 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 boop.
Sure.
Yeah. You put enough of those things up, and just, just
Or-
tape them to the wall, I guess.
Well, I got like 3 trees to put up. I got so the skeleton that I have outside for Halloween. I'm gonna put some. I got the like the Christmas pack. I just need to figure out how to put the hat on it because I'm gonna have to lower it. I don't have a ladder that goes up that.
Can you get like?
I
a
think I might
stick?
just hook it on. Yeah, right. Why not? Just hook it on.
I'll help.
and
Or
then it
I can
probably-
stand on your shoulders. I can come
Sure.
over and stand on your
And then we
shoulders.
could put a trench coat on, so it just looks like one
Just like a
really,
really
tall
tall guy?
person. Yeah, man. I don't know. I feel like we talked about this, but Thanksgiving, like, it's so sad because it's so good. Okay, favorite Thanksgiving food though.
Man, that's tough. I think I'll pick one, and it's going to be mashed potatoes. But
Wait, hold on. Just mashed potatoes, like
mashed potatoes are so good, dude.
Yeah?
Mashed potatoes are so good. Here's the thing. That's a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pick one just
Yeah.
for the sake of picking one. But I think the collective, like, I'm going to mix everything together on my plate is the best part about that.
okay.
It is greater. Each piece is greater than the sum is greater than the parts.
Well, except cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce has a place. You get that little acidity, that's sweet and acidic.
Do you like it ribbed for her pleasure?
I do.
just-
Right from the
from
the
the
thing.
can.
The best is when you get all those little ridges
And it
from
just
the
goes and just like
plops on the
Yep,
plate, and you
yep.
try to cut it with a butter knife,
and
and
it
it
just
just
slides around.
smashes,
It's
especially
like-
that last little part.
It slides down like one of those things. You remember the little fucking tube?
Yeah, which was just training me for jerking off.
Yeah, an uncircumcised dick.
Yeah, right.
That's what they look like. It's got the hood.
I don't ever jerk off an uncircumcised dick, but you know, I could imagine.
Or you could jerk off with one of the little hand guys. Right? Sure.
Jerk off with one of the little hand
Like you could
guys.
use one of the little hand tubes and just kind of put it down on your dick.
Oh, you could use that to jerk off.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is that what they're called? Hand guys?
hand guys? They could be.
What are they called? Slidey tubes?
I wouldn't even know what to Google to find that. But I know what you're talking about, where you
You know what I'm
squeeze it
talking about.
and it goes up, and you squeeze it and it goes. Yeah,
And it's like, whoa. I'll tell you what, my favorite Thanksgiving food, stuffing all day.
and that's what I'm
100%.
making. That's what I'm
Yes,
making
and I'm
for
so
Friendsgiving.
that's why we're doing Friendsgiving, just so you can make stuffing.
I'll make stuffing for you guys if you want anytime.
Anytime. Thank you.
And you want the sausage stuffing, right?
It has to be sausage.
Giggity.
Your sausage stuffing.
I have to find a recipe for that again. I forget.
So,
I haven't made it. I haven't made it.
You better
in a
get
year or
that
two.
that bread stale, dog.
Yeah. When is? Yeah. I will. I'll
What
go
is it?
buy. I'll go buy a loaf.
Saturday. I have the turkey currently thawing
Is
in
it
the
this
fridge.
Saturday? Is it this Saturday? I'm gonna go buy a fucking loaf of bread.
Yeah, I put my turkey in. I got it on Sunday, and it's just been in the fridge since, and it's still kind of frozen.
Yeah, but safe thawing out rules. Everybody, here's your heads up. If you are a procrastinator like me, and you buy your turkey late, do not just set it out on the counter all night, or for a day or whatever. You have to put it, if you're trying to quick thaw it, and the refrigerator won't work. Put it under running cold water in your sink and let the water overflow.
And then constantly drain that water and refill it. So dude, I'm wondering how many people, or like, let me thaw it under the hottest of waters, or like leaving it out on the counter, or let me then also rinse my turkey.
Just get salmonella everywhere.
Because you know what?
That gives me so much anxiety.
Here we go. Mm-hmm. Ready for this? Internet. Do you or do you not rinse your poultry? Chicken, turkey, whatever. We want to know if you do or not. Eric, do you or do you not rinse your chicken or poultry? Let's just say poultry.
No.
Right.
Definitely
no
not.
is the correct answer.
You're going to get some polarizing responses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just pissed off a whole bunch of people.
This seems to be a real polarizing episode.
Yeah, we are really,
You're going to make some people mad with this.
Yeah, we're going to. You know what, though?
You can't make everybody happy.
USDA, washing poultry before cooking is not recommended. Bacteria in raw meat and poultry juices can be spread to other foods, because you know what? That rinse isn't doing more, because you ask the same people what they cook their fucking, what should poultry, like what should chicken be cooked to, right? 165. But they're going to say,
yes.
I don't fucking know. I cook it to 155, 195, whatever. But like, if you don't even know the proper temperature, but then you're saying, well, if I rinse it off, that's fine. And then you're not properly sanitizing your sink or the surrounding areas. Dude, it's so fucking frustrating. But I also noticed it is a generational thing.
Yep, this is how my parents did it, so I do it the same way.
Yep.
But I just want to know what just cold water does that a 400-degree oven doesn't. Like,
So, do you remember the Blink-182 music video for All the Small Things? And there's like a scene where Mark Hoppus is getting like sprayed with the hose, and they're making fun of the boy bands, and someone's like, my produce looking at me when I'm rinsing it off, because I mean, like, even like produce, dude, like, you're thinking about it, and what is it really doing?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I was taught, and I don't know how true this is, I'm sure you could Google this. When I was going through culinary school, it was, you rinse it off, because when you take that knife and you cut that membrane, you're not introducing whatever is on the outside into the actual, like watermelon or whatever. But you're just giving it a rinse.
I've seen people do, they'll make like a solution of mostly water, a little bit of vinegar, and then they'll let it kind of soak in there. It looks nice. I like to see people like, come with me as I restock my fridge, and they get back from the grocery store.
Yep.
And then they like cut open their cereal, and they pour it into a little clear container, and they slide it into the drawer. It looks really nice. They have those cool little push button containers that come out, and they do their refills, their restocks. They'll clean their fruit. They have it in like a little rinse colander, but it's got a bowl, and then they pull the fruit out of there, and you see how dirty the water is, and I go, makes me want to do that to my stuff.
But here's what we do actually do. You get a pint of strawberries, and then you let it die in your fridge. And then you
for
throw
sure.
it out
They're going to start to get, they all grow little beards.
Yep. And then
and I go,
you
ooh, I'm not going to eat that.
You're like, wow, produce sucks. Or like you get bananas, they're green, and then the next day they're just black and
Yeah.
you just can't fucking eat them. Well, we always go through this thing where we get bananas and then Jenna's like, well, I'm going to save them. I want to make
Banana
banana
bread.
bread.
Fuck
And then
yeah.
they just sit there and just rot.
Yeah,
You
there's
know, like
definitely
rot.
a sweet spot, literally a sweet spot, but like to make
Yep.
it into banana bread. It's not just like flies. It shouldn't be shriveled.
I'm notoriously bad at. I lose a lot of onions because I get a bag of onions and they're so damn cheap. But what I should do is I was for a while cutting them and then freezing them.
That's what I do. Yep.
But then, like the cost of you're going to go back to inflation. The freezer bags were actually more expensive than just getting a new onion. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping
maybe,
that like
but in that, and I do the same with my chicken parts. Whenever we buy chicken, we usually
Yep.
buy it with like bone in, skin on.
Sure.
I've gone as far as to like if we buy the bone in, skin on chicken thighs, big like 10-pound thing. I'll prep them all. I'll cut all the bones out, and there's got a little bit of meat left on it. Freeze those bones until I have enough, and then I have the onions and the whatever other vegetable scraps, and I'll make my own chicken stock out of it. I went as far one time as to make. Do you know what schmaltz is?
isn't that the buildup of like cheese under your foreskin?
That's schmegma.
Right. Okay. All right.
Schmaltz is the when you render down chicken fat. So like
okay.
and you put it in a real cold pan and you kind of add in all the chicken fat and
All right.
let it bleed out.
Do its thing.
I did that one time. It was not good. It's not like I save my bacon grease. Bacon grease is like
Do you
cooking
have a
with
bacon
gold.
grease thing, like a tin? Or
It's a
is it
tin
like
that I use,
but it's meant for that.
It's meant for that, but honestly, more often than not, I just use like one of those glass resealable containers in the fridge, and then I just go through that, and I use it anytime I cook breakfast. Do
you just refrigerate it?
Yep, just refrigerate it. And
Yep.
it lasts a really long time. I've never, as long as you're using it like
You gotta use it.
regularly for certain things, and honestly, I can't think of any instance where I would rather use. I mean, I'm sure it has its place, but any place where you would use butter, you can use the bacon grease.
So I like to use olive oil over butter.
I heard you shouldn't cook with olive oil, or is that just the virgin olive oil?
Or what about when you unvirgin?
When you, so I don't personally fuck my olive oil. I buy my olive oil pre-fucked.
I just have olive oil. Well, we ran out of butter and Isla wanted a grilled cheese. And so she said, Daddy, can I have 2 grilled cheeses? And I used olive oil
No.
well, because I didn't have butter.
There's a better answer.
Spit?
No, not spit. Mayonnaise. You use mayonnaise.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Honestly, and maybe there's a combo. The one that I find is best is if you put a thin layer of mayonnaise on your bread, and then if you did have butter, you could still butter the pan at least on that original one, but the other side still has that mayo to it makes it crisp up real good. I like the flavor.
Oh, I also love mayonnaise.
Oh, mayonnaise is the best.
Would you say mayonnaise is the best instrument?
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
I do love mayonnaise, and mayonnaise over Miracle Whip any day of the fucking week.
I gave Miracle Whip a try.
It's just really sweet.
I'll tell you what, too kinky.
It's way too kinky.
I don't need all that whipping.
I just need some. Have you ever though just like scooped mayonnaise out of the container and just
Into my mouth
raw dogged it?
all the time. No.
Because that's
I've never
I
done
love
that.
ketchup, but ketchup
wouldn't
smells
just eat it
horrible
straight.
when it's like on your hands and you're like, oh god, if it like gets on you or spills on you or whatever. Same with mayonnaise. Like I don't want to just raw dog a pack of mayonnaise. Is there any condiment
that I would raw dog?
Yeah.
I mean, I would taste a barbecue sauce. Just taste it though. I'm not eating it.
Like kids though, they love to just spoon feed fucking condiments into their mouths.
Big Daddy, what do you want? What do you want to eat? Ketchup packets. 37 ketchup packets. Wasn't that the kid from Star Wars?
No, it was the twins from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh, and was it? What was the Christmas movie?
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. That's the same.
With fucking Turbo Man. We quote that movie probably every day.
Do we?
Jen and I do.
Oh, okay. What line?
So there's this scene where Arnold is trying to get the doll for the Turbo Man doll for Jamie, like his son, and he can't get it right. Jamie. He waited, too long. He's a successful businessman, which also always irked me. It was like, hey, you're a successful businessman, but like you're not doing enough, right? Whatever. So he's at the mall looking for it, and the Santa's like, hey, I got one, but you got to come back to like my place to get it. So he goes to this like black market Christmas shop, and dude gives him gives him the doll, and it's super fucking overpriced. And he opens up, he's like, don't open it. And it starts speaking Spanish. And he looks at him, he's like, oh, that's the new bilingual edition. It's fun and educational. We say that and then he opens it up and all the pieces fucking fall out. Dude, that's such a good movie. But Isla has now started saying it's fun and educational.
That's like when we say anytime we're going to go out to eat fast food, and we say it's good and good for you.
And we've made that joke probably every week for the last 300 plus weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that math tracks.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, everyone? Happy day after election day.
Or not.
But it is what it is. And we will see y'all next week.
Bye.